everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Drew and I love everything reading, writing, and books. So today I wanted to start episode 1 of a very exciting series. I am going to be self-publishing, probably through Amazon KDP, my very own poetry and photography and basically like an art book. So I'm really excited and I thought I would share this learning process with all of you and maybe help some of you out if you're unsure of what to do when publishing a book like this or any book. And I'm kind of just going to be learning as I go, offering some helpful tips. Hopefully maybe it inspires one of you also to publish your own book if that's something that you have been thinking about doing. So like I said, this is going to be a series. This is episode 1. And in this episode, I am just going to be planning the book, seeing which poems and photos that I want to use, looking at inspiration, creating like vision boards for inspiration, and just setting myself up so that in the next step, I can format the pages, create the spreads, and then, put them into a document, which then will go into the Amazon KDP and get published. Since I am self-publishing, I can pretty much like print, at any stage that I want, but I do want to make sure that it is edited. I don't think I'm going to be hiring an editor just because that is out of the budget, but I am going to have friends and family read over the whole book, read over the poems, look over the photos, and just kind of act as a second pair of eyes to make sure that everything is correct and looks good. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It's totally up to you if you actually hire an editor or you have someone else look over your work. I definitely recommend someone else though looking over your work, because once you're rereading your own work, you're gonna miss words, your brain is gonna fill in what is not actually there if you don't have like a filler word or something like that. So I definitely recommend having at least one other person review your work. So I wanted to talk about the inspiration of this poetry book. And I have a few books here that have kind of acted as my inspiration for what I want to do and kind of got me started into poetry. And I just want to share these and then create my own mood board so that I know what the book is going to look like visually, because it is kind of like an artistic book. First, for like reference books, I have On Sun Swallowing by Dakota Warren. She is a YouTuber and a poet and a writer. This is her poetry book that she's released. And when I first read this was kind of like one of the first poetry books that I had gotten into in a while. Of course, I had read some poetry when I was younger, but nothing like a collection like this. So this kind of inspired me and I started writing my own poetry in this notebook that I made, which is now full. So I'm gonna have to start using this one. But it kind of inspired me, and so I kind of want to base my book around this, not exact and not copying, just inspired. So this book is a paperback, which I do want to do for my novel or my poetry collection, and it has different sections, which is something I also want to do. I'm thinking I will have 3 to 4 sections, and I already kind of know what I want this to look like and what each section will have, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have like enough content for each, so I might have to reevaluate, make some more poems, take some more photos, and we'll see. But something I really like in this book is that she has poems and then she also has photographs. And this book has a lot of art and little like doodles, photographs, and work, written work, which is what I want to do. So this is like the book that has heavily inspired what I want to make. Another poetry book that I have, this one is a hardback, but this is by Lana Del Rey actually, called Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass. And I like the back of this book where she just has one rectangle photo, and I kind of want to do that for mine. I'm not sure if I want to do like a full description on the back or just like a little photo, because I really like this look, so I might be inspired to do that. But I really love this cover, just more like art, she has a lot of poems, but then she also has photographs. This one, I don't think it has page numbers, so that's definitely something I want to change. I want to add page numbers. I really like how in the back she has photos, but then she also has spots to like write your own poems, which I still want to fill out, which is a really cool idea. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but this one I don't think has sections. But yeah, I love how the pages are filled with words. One thing I don't like about poetry books, some have it, some don't, is when they only have like 2 lines and then the rest of the page is blank. Like, at least add a doodle. Sorry, but I don't like that. I think it's a waste of paper. If you can't like write a poem to fill up the page or 2, I think you should add something else so that it's not blank. But anyways, on to the next inspiration book. This one is more of a zine called Scream of Consciousness, and it is by Rebecca Rolasco. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but she is this creator on Instagram and maybe other social media apps, and she created the zine just as like a passion project. So I bought it and I was really inspired by this. I love, you know, the different doodles, the different writing. She has a table of contents, which is definitely something I want to do. She has what's in my bag, which is super fun. And I've definitely made zines before and kind of had more of these elements in it. So my poetry book isn't going to be totally like this, but I kind of am still inspired by like the color schemes and the different, you know, design choices. Okay, and here we have this giant magazine. Basically, it's like the size of a magazine, and this is actually mine. So there was this like printing on demand app that I tried out because I thought the size was going to be more like this size, and it was like print out a coloring book, and I was like, oh, let me just put in some ideas for my poetry book and photography book on there, and I can have like a little, you know, reference. But it's actually super big. It's kind of like comically large. I don't know, I showed it to my family and they're like, no, it's fine, but I don't want it this big. Anyways, this is what I'm thinking the cover will be. So my name, this photo of me taking a photo, and then I think it's going to be called The Orange Tree, a collection of poetry and photography. And I think I just want like a simple cover like this, and then on the back I do have like the one rectangle, you know, photo. I don't know, I might change it. This is kind of just inspiration. And like I do have some photos in here, the title section, and I have like a little quote section too. But yeah, I want to have like photos and poems. Now that you've seen all the reference photos and books and all the inspiration, I do want to add on to that and make a vision/mood board on Canva and just put photos that I've taken that I want to include, and then also possibly photos that other people from like Pinterest have taken, and just for inspiration and for, you know, the vibes of the book. And I just kind of want to make a vision board of what I want the book to look aesthetically, because it is an art book. It is kind of like a project that is about how it looks. It's supposed to be pretty and all kind of one cohesive theme, if that makes sense. Okay, so I just made the vision/mood board for the orange tree, and here are just some of the photos that I think I might use in the book, and then some like graphics like the oranges, you know, the cameras, the pens, things that might just go on like the little sides of the books and the pages and just add like cute detail. So as you can see, it's very colorful. It is very, I guess, like spring, summer-like, but with some browns and darker colors. And I have a lot of childhood photos in here because I want there to be a section of kind of like growing up, girlhood, things like that. And then also another section where I kind of have like the evolution of my room, from when I first had my very own room to now, and how that's kind of changed, and how having my own space to decorate and, you know, express myself has just been so great and has resulted in some very unique decisions for the room, definitely, but also some very cute and cozy spaces like I have now. And I just wanted to show that and to show how much my room has changed and how it's kind of showed that I've also changed. So this is just the mood board and some details about it. Now I want to go through all my poems and basically mark which ones I want to use in the book and which section, kind of figure out the sections and like those themes, and then which poems I want to actually put in the book, and to see if I have enough, because I might have to write more. Okay, so currently I have 16 poems that, with a few edits, are ready to go into the book. But I want to get to at least 25 like written work. Some of these are essays, some of these are poetry, before I start like actually fleshing it all out. Since my poetry book is more of an art book and it has like a full section dedicated to photographs and like small descriptions, I don't need as many poems as a regular poetry book would. So I think I'm going to try to get to 25 and then call it good, and then if I need to add some, I will, but I think that's enough poems because it's not going to be a super long book. It'll just be like a small art collection. I do want to print out my little vision board so I can put it in my notebook just to remind me of what I'm aiming for. Okay, the last thing I want to do is create sections in my poetry notebook and kind of divvy up the poems, see which section they will be good for, and kind of write a little description for each section 1, 2, 3, 4, and kind of say what I want it to look like. So that is the last thing I'm going to do. Okay, so I just completed all 4 sections in my journal. I just did the section title, a quote that I'm going to add, the description of what I want it to look like, the poems included, I listed them out, and then the photos included and how I want it to look. So I am super happy with my progress today. I think that's all for today's episode. I will see you all in episode 2 with newly written material and poems, hopefully, with the actual book as like pages and all laid out and all of that stuff. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I'm so excited about this project. Let me know down below if this is something you would also have a goal to do, if you want to publish your own book, traditionally publish, if it's a poetry book, if it's a novel. Like, I want to know all about your books. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.